Hey, how's it going guys? It's Nate here. And Skyrim's a game that has many locations and places to visit. From bustling cities to ancient Nordic ruins, there's no shortage of spots to go. Most of these sites will be plainly marked down on your map. However, in Skyrim, there exists a plethora of locations in the world that are not marked down as icons in your world map, but are still definitely more than worth traveling to. These places are creatively referred to by the community as unmarked locations. And they are often some of the most interesting sites in all of Skyrim, as they can contain Easter eggs, references, or sometimes even their own hidden plot lines. So sit back and relax, as today we take a look at 5 unmarked locations in The Elder Scrolls V. Starting off, we have the Shrine of Talos Massacre. Southeast of Riverwood, near Whiterun Hold's border with Falkreath, hidden on a mountain, you can find a small shrine to Talos, with quite a disturbing scene surrounding it. The corpses of multiple NPCs, all simply named Worshipper, are spread out across the area, obviously killed in the middle of an intense battle. Amongst the remains lies the body of a single fallen Thalmor agent, likely the culprit behind all of this. In his inventory is a letter from Emissary Elwyn, the Thalmor's head diplomat in Skyrim. In it, Elwyn rejects a request made by the agent to send him men to help search for some shrine of Talos that he believes exists. She says there's no evidence of such a thing, and if he wants help, he's gonna need to find where that shrine is first. Evidently, this agent eventually discovered the shrine he was looking for, but while his service was still underway, he must have gotten a bit excited and decided to start attacking the believers immediately. Or perhaps they threw the first punches. Regardless, a battle ensued. Obviously, he killed a great deal of innocent unarmed civilians, but ultimately these worshippers must have put up quite the fight, as they were able to critically wound him. Hopefully they get the recognition they deserve when in Sovngarde. Our next spot takes us to a tragic, but ultimately avoidable mining accident in Solstheim. Northeast of Raven Rock near a mountain range is a small miner's camp. It's nothing glorious, just a simple tent setup alongside a few supplies. But nearby is the scene of a terribly sad mistake. The body of an unnamed Dunmer miner is pinned down by massive rocks and a tipped over cart. Apparently, the man must have, for whatever reason, been standing in front of the cart when something caused it to lose its balance and spill its contents all over him. I've disabled my grass mods to make this a bit easier to see. Our elven friend doesn't have a whole lot in his inventory, but he seemed to have found a lot of success in his mining, considering all of the gold ore that's now currently pinning him to the ground. So he wasn't so lucky in the grand scheme of things. For a third spot, between the Rift and East March holds, there lies a vast stretch of hot springs and tar pits that serve to be a graveyard for many of the poor creatures that were at the wrong place at the wrong time. However, this otherwise treacherous terrain also serves as a place of luxury for some relaxing hunters at an unmarked campsite. West of Fort Amol is the Hunter's Jacuzzi camp. This is probably one of the better known places on this list, considering its rather central location. Here you can find a handful of nearly naked hunters simply chilling around in the heated water surrounding their tents. It's not often you'll encounter NPCs enjoying themselves this much, so it's rather humorous to come across these relaxed hunters. These NPCs have no non-generic dialogue, but the look in their eyes says it all. They're having quite a good time. The camp itself doesn't have much worth taking either, but should you steal from them, the hunters will turn hostile. Due to their naked nature though, they'll comedically be forced to resort to fighting you barehanded. But who'd want to disturb such laid-back people? For a fourth spot, off of Solstheim's northeastern tip, there's a small handful of seemingly insignificant islands. Most of them are pretty dull once you get there, but should you venture to the furthest northeast, you'll realize that one's quite a bit different from the others. You see, growing here are some very abnormally sized nirn roots. Harvesting these gargantuan plants will earn you 2 nirn roots per plant, as opposed to just 1 that you would get with a normal nirn root. There's no straightforward explanation offered to what caused these plants to get so large. Back in the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, there was an Easter egg where you can encounter some pretty massive nirn roots for yourself, but how they got from Cyrodiil all the way to Solstheim is entirely unknown. A handful of very territorial Spriggans populate the island alongside the mutated leaves. Spriggans are a bit plant-like themselves, so maybe there's some connection here. Also on the island is a beached rowboat, not too far away from a dead alchemist, who was likely studying the plants until he was murdered to death by the Spriggans. Whatever Bethesda's explanation may be, I would definitely recommend you check out this island for yourself sometime. And before we get to our number 5 spot on this list, here's a single honorable mention. Just a little ways away from Broken Ore Grotto, near Solitude, there's a small cave hidden in the mountains, with a few saber-toothed tigers inside of it. Now, Skyrim in and of itself has a variety of unmarked caves for all sorts of creatures, but what brings this one to my attention is what's inside of it. Inside the cave, amongst a fallen deer, is the body of an Argonian, reaching for a small bag of gold. On his body, the Argonian carries a copy of a book titled, A Guide to Better Thieving. I'll let you put the pieces of this one together for yourself. And finally, last on our list, south of Pine Watch on a small hill, lies an unmarked cabin in the woods. Smoke is being emitted all around it. Its west side has been scorched by fire, and there are 2 burnt corpses near a small fireplace nearby. At first glance, it's easy to assume that perhaps these people simply didn't have the best fire pit management skills, and something got out of hand. But a look inside the small structure reveals a much more tragic truth. Sitting on a small stand, the Dragonborn can find a note titled, quote, Letter to Authorities, and it reads, I've heard talk about the dragons, but didn't believe it until now. One flew by last week, and ever since we've seen him fly back and forth from a nearby mountain peak. My wife thinks we should move away, go somewhere else. I told her that would be nonsense. As long as we don't bother it, it won't bother us. Still, I thought it would be best if we report it to the local authorities. The creature is just south up the hill behind our shack. Evidently, the poor man never got around to delivering his letter, and unfortunately, his assumption that the dragon wouldn't bother him ultimately proved incorrect. Luckily, the player has the ability to track down the beast responsible and deliver a bit of justice. And on that redeeming note, we are going to wrap up. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Which of these was your favorite, and what unmarked locations have you come across in Skyrim that you think others should know about? Leave a comment down below. When choosing locations for this video, I tried my best to stick to ones that were either really unknown to most of the player base, or had a lot to offer the player if you ever decided to visit there. So hopefully you agreed with most of these. If you learned anything new, or just really enjoyed the video, like ratings are as always very much appreciated. Thanks for watching again, everyone, and hope to catch you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody.